Welcome to the Wednesday Night Showdown, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Tonight, the Rays homestand continues Interleague Baseball with a wrap-up game of this two-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rays sporting the best record in the American League, and by virtue of a 64-43 mark, they're in first place by a one-half game in front of the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tropicana Field and another evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. So good to have you looking in tonight. Todd Callis along in just a few moments. Rays winners last night 5-2. They have built quality through versatility. Nobody fits that bill better than Ben Zobrist, whether it's on defense or in the lineup. And tonight he's hitting cleanup.
Well, Ben Zobrist, first of all, he goes to the All-Star game and he says, okay, if I'm an All-Star starting in the second half or after the All-Star break, I'm going to have to turn it up a notch. And this is exactly what he's done. Starting with that series in Toronto, his average at 381. More impressive than that is his on-base percentage, which is at 447. And guess what? He's getting it done from both sides of the plate. Right-handed, he's hitting 400. Left-handed, he's hitting 370. Continues to be very dangerous. An important spot tonight for the Rays. On the mound for the Rays is going to be Jeremy Hellickson, and you can see what he's done in his last 7 starts. A 6-0 record, 209 earned run average. The team has won all 7 of those starts. He's comfortable mechanically on the mound right now. That has led to a repeatable delivery. He's now able to put his pitches where he wants them, and when you're able to do that, the confidence starts to build and the results will follow.
Here's a look at his last start when he defeated the Yankees in New York on Friday. Gave up just a run on 4 hits in the 6 innings he worked, striking out 3 and walking 2, making 102 pitches. And tonight, Hellickson goes after win number 11. The trading deadline has come and gone. And when we come back, as that clock ticked down, Todd Callis will review the comings and goings.
Put them at 22-4 in the month of July. Tampa Bay and Arizona wrapping up this 2-game series. Rays victorious last night 5-2. July 31st marks the trade deadline, where you do not need to have players clear waivers. It was at 4 o'clock today, and a couple of teams in the AL East over the last 24 hours did add to their starting rotation. For the Red Sox, they add Jake Peavy to the rotation from the Chicago White Sox. They traded Jose Iglesias in a 3-player deal. Bud Norris is acquired by the Orioles from Houston. They're playing each other tonight, so they actually had to just switch some players within the two clubhouses. Jason Hamill, the former Ray, goes on the DL for Baltimore. And Jesse Crain, acquired on Monday by the Rays from the Chicago White Sox. He'll help in the back end of the bullpen after he comes off the DL right now with a little shoulder strain. Joe Maddon said before the game, the way his team is going, not necessary that they had to make a move today.
Well, you're always looking to make your group better, and if there was a way to make it better, Andrew would have done that. But, I mean, I'm very satisfied and happy with what we have here. The chemistry is outstanding. The way they interact is beautiful to watch every day. And we have a lot of different abilities and skills to offset different moments. So, again, you're always looking to make yourself better. But with this group and the way they're playing right now, I'm okay.
Why not be okay? Those guys are okay, too. Wow, they're having a great time up there. Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson are going to answer your questions tonight on a Web Wednesday. Tweet your questions to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, and those two will have as many answers as possible. We're ready for baseball on a Wednesday. Jeremy Hellickson with the recently added Ryan Roberts from AAA Durham in the lineup tonight. As Wade Miley, there he is, the lefty, will go for the Diamondbacks. Enjoy all the action of the Rays and the D-backs right around the corner here on SunSports.
Tossing 7 complete games, more than any other team in baseball has hurled all season. The only member of the Rays staff without a complete game is Jeremy Hellickson. And tonight, he looks to join the party and be in the center of the pitcher's post-game lead. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Showdown, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. The Rays again tonight square off against the National League's Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll take a quick look at the starting lineup presented by Sweet Bay Supermarkets. Gerardo Parra will lead it off. Parra in right field for Arizona. Martin Prado will hit second and play third. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. The DH Eric Chavez. Aaron Hill hits fifth in front of Cody Ross. A.J. Pollock in center. Will Nieves catches again tonight. Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, will hit ninth.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays is going to be right-hander Jeremy Hellickson, making his 22nd start of the season. 10-3 on the year, an ERA of 4.48. These numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. And though that win total of 10 has really picked up, his last 7 starts, the team's won all 7. Jeremy in that span, 6-0, 2.09. Pitching with a lot of confidence right now and looking to keep it rolling. Let's take a look at the defense for the Rays as it lines up behind them. A little bit different look in the outfield, left to right. Full, Jennings, and Myers. Ryan Roberts will be back at third base facing his old team. Escobar, Zobrist, and Rodriguez complete the infield. And Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
There was a lot of speculation when Ryan Roberts was lifted for pinch hitter at Durham in their game last night. Here he is back with the Rays with Matt Moore going on the disabled list. And so Roberts in there playing third base tonight. Evan Longoria will DH. We are set to play baseball. Here's Parra, the right fielder, and the first pitch of this game delivered by Jeremy Hellickson. It's a strike call. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. There's Evan Longoria. He'll be in the lineup, but not playing third base. Another strike, 0-2. Gerardo Parra at 270 on the year. Outfielder from Venezuela. Pitch is low. He was 1 for 3 last night. In fact, hit by a pitch his first time up. That's how Roberto Hernandez started his night last night, and then wound up going the distance and came 1 out away from throwing a shutout. Chop right side. That's going to be a fair ball. And Sean Rodriguez at first tonight makes the play unassisted. Elbow soreness that developed his last time out for Matt Moore.
Yeah, and with all these off days coming up and the opportunity to go to a 4-man rotation, you don't take any chances with Matt Moore. Not a big deal. It's not something that he feels on every single pitch, which is a very good sign. But while you have the time, you let that elbow calm down and have him fresh and strong for the stretch run. Good move. Smart move.
Well, that moves right into the scenario that Joe Madden painted. There's no way you know when you're going to have to put a guy on the disabled list. Prado up here taking that first pitch for a ball. But the Rays thinking already in the month of August with the off days, it could be a month of winning, but a month of regrouping and heading strong into September.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. And a great changeup here by Jeremy Hellickson. But think about that. You've got a well-rested David Price, far below what his innings should be. He's going to be ready to go. And then Matt Moore is going to get a little bit of a breather here, and he's going to come back fine. In fact, Matt said, listen, if this is September, October, I could pitch. Yeah. I could definitely pitch through this. But while you have the opportunity with the off days, just give him a break, let that thing be 100%, and then all of a sudden you get him fresh. Goodness. It's hard to imagine that these guys could get any better, but nice to know you've got some fresh arms down the stretch.
Well, it speaks to the depth that the Rays have right now in the pitching department. Low, 2-2. Jeremy Hellickson out there for the 22nd time. The Rays have gone 10-1 against the National League this year, a major part of their success. Headed out of play by Prado. Hellickson winning 6 straight decisions over his last 7 starts. Gibson, the skipper in his 4th season, skipper of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Man of the hour last night, Roberto Hernandez. When you think about this Diamondback lineup too, it's an off night when your best chance to score was in the 1st inning with nobody out and runners on 1st and 2nd, and that's when Paul Goldschmidt came to the plate after that hit by pitch, a base hit by Aaron Hill. Hernandez gets him to roll into a double play, and then it was off and running for Roberto.
Up the left side, that's a fair ball. Off the sidewall, kicking back to Fold, who unloads in a hurry. But into second base goes Prado with his 20th double of the year.
Well, Martin Prado, a very good hitter. Handles the bat well, will use the whole field. Battles Jeremy Hellickson here, and after looking bad on a changeup early, gets one a little bit elevated right here, and he is able, see right there on top of the plate, moved up in the box a little bit, able to shoot this ball down into the corner. And a nice adjustment there made by Prado in order to pick up that double.
So scoring opportunity in the 1st by Arizona with Paul Goldschmidt up there, hitting 300 on the year and 383 with runners in scoring position. Looks at a fastball for a strike. The top RBI man in the National League. Upstairs. Say this for Goldschmidt, he looks like a hitter up there. There's no question about that.
Captain Caveman. I mean, he gets in there a little squat and gets that bat wrapped back behind his back, ready to uncoil and take a rip. And it's amazing that he's been able to put up the numbers that he has when you know that he's the focus of every pitching staff, every city they go to.
That pitch in, and it hits him. So Goldschmidt hit by a pitch. You're right about that. When you look at their lineup, just all you have to do is look at the production numbers. They immediately pop out at you, and he's the guy that you don't want to let beat you.
Yep. And so every time they go and play somebody, he becomes the focus, and yet still able to come through more times than not. That caught him right on the inside of that right elbow, and you certainly understand the grimace. That does not feel good in there.
Second man that Hellickson has hit this year. Eric Chavez DHing. Pitch is a strike. Chavez had an even 300. He hit the home run last night with 2 outs in the 9th that denied Roberto Hernandez the shutout. Hit it right down the right field line and off the foul pole. Well, Hernandez was very sharp last night. That's a strike. Takes the count to 1-2.
Can you think of any pitches that Roberto left out over the plate with elevation? It seemed like if he had a ball elevated, it was close to the hitter or it was far off the plate. Nothing elevated out over the white. Everything that was out over the plate was, a little bit above the knees down to the shins. And that will point to his success all the time.
Cut to miss. He got Chavez to chase the changeup. So 2 gone. First strikeout of the night for Hellickson.
And probably not exactly where Jeremy wanted this, but you got a guy that's down in the count have a tendency to expand his zone. And he goes well off the plate trying to reach that changeup, and as you would well imagine, couldn't.
Aaron Hill These two have faced each other from Hill's time with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now playing second base for the Diamondbacks. He's one of 3 lifetime against Jeremy. First pitch is in there, a strike call. Prado doubled. Goldschmidt hit by a pitch. 2 men on with 2 men out in the first. Covered up by Lobaton. The changeup. Rays start the night a half game up on Boston. Arizona running second in the National League West, 3.5 behind the Dodgers. Dodgers have won 4 in a row, and the Diamondbacks have dropped 3 straight. 3.5 out. Powell out of play. It's 1-2. The Dodgers have been very hot, taking over first in the National League West. Diamondbacks actually have spent the better part of the year in first place in that NL West race, but not now. Rays will see both these clubs from the West. The Rays take on the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers on their next road trip. The high chop to short. Picked on the short hop on a backhand by Escobar. Safe to call at first, and the bases are going to be loaded.
And I'll tell you what, first of all, that was a tough hop that Escobar is going to have to contend with off the bat of Aaron Hill. And he comes in, lets it bounce, and takes that short hop on the backhand. Boy, this is a tough way to go after a ball. Then has to throw on the run, and the timing right there a little bit off. And right there down at first base, Phil Cuzzy says that Sean Rodriguez did not keep that foot on the bag. It was awfully close.
It was close.
Tough to see from those angles. And obviously probably tough for Phil to see, but that was the call.
Goes as an infield hit for Aaron Hill. The bases are loaded. Cody Ross becomes the hitter. Ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Prado's going to score. Goldschmidt heads to the plate, and the throw cut off. It's 2-0 Arizona. So on the first pitch, Cody Ross gives Arizona a 2-0 lead.
Now there have been so few hiccups by the Rays defensively, and I know that went down as an infield hit, but more times than not, we're used to that play being made. It's not, and Cody Ross immediately is able to cash in for the Diamondbacks. That extra base runner right there, he just hammers one in the hole, and everybody running with 2 strikes and full. A little bit of trouble getting this out of his glove. Goldschmidt's able to get in.
Hill at second with Ross at first. A.J. Pollock steps in, getting the start in center field tonight. And there's a first pitch strike. A 25-year-old outfielder. In front of the changeup. 0-2. He spent most of last season with their AAA affiliate at Reno and hit .318 there. Oh, 2. Tapper foul. Pollock hitting 7th. Kirk Gibson's lineup. Two runs in, 2 men on, 2 strikes to count to Pollock. Fastball wide. Pollock takes it off the plate. Myers, the catcher, on deck. The 1-2 outside. 2-2. So Arizona with 2 in the first. Pollock pops this one back. That's going to be out of play. Holding the count right there, 2-2. Pollock out of Notre Dame. He's a first-round pick by the Diamondbacks. And it's lifted to the right side, shallow right. Will Myers is there to retire the side. 2 men scored, 2 men are left. Rays coming in to hit. Bottom of the first. John Rodriguez assuring Jamie Nelson and the rest of the Rays that his foot was on the bag and that the throw beat Hill.
And you know what? That's what I went to, the thought that the foot may have come off the bag because it was clear that the throw got there in time. There was no way that he was just calling him flat out safe. Thought he had to be, the only choice he had was the foot coming off the bag, where it appears, obviously the foot was on the bag, appears that the call was that the play was beat out by the runner, and that clearly was not the case. The throw was there in time for the out. That's a huge turn because it ends up costing the Rays 2 runs.
Always tough enough to get 3 outs. Yeah. Very difficult to get 4. So it's 2-0 Arizona, and Desmond Jennings leads off. Shortens on the bat. Takes the pitch upstairs. Rays facing left-hander Wade Miley.
You can see making his 22nd start. His season numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Jennings takes a strike. 1-1. Desmond hitting .261 overall. .333 against left-handed pitching. Miley will not give you a lot of time to think about what you want to do up there unless you step out on him. And that's what Jennings is already doing.
Yeah, well, he wants to engage his defense, work quickly. He knows what he wants to do. An awful lot of fastballs from this lefty.
Chopper towards second. Hill gloves and throws. Jennings is out number 1. Rest of the Rays lineup presented by Sweet Bay Supermarket. Evan Longoria hitting second following Jennings, and then Will Myers. Ben Zober, Sean Rodriguez, and Ryan Roberts down the middle. Yudel Escobar, Jose Lobaton, and then Sam Fold in left field hits ninth. Evan up in the second spot, hitting third last night. He was 0 for 5. Fouls a pitch out of play.
And when you see Miley's breakout, he gets the right-handed hitters. He is over 70% fastballs, and it gets even, easier to figure out from there. A lot of fastballs early in the count and behind in the predictable counts. So the Rays should be able to at least be able to hone in on what he's trying to do. Loves the slider with 2 strikes to the right-handed hitters and the lefties.
Evans breakout, 345 against lefties. This one is down. They say Miley does get a little cut action on his pitches. He was a 16-game winner last year, 16-11 in 29 starts.
ERA in the low 3s.
And a cut and a miss. He throws a fastball and gets Longoria.
Elevation. Brought that one up just a little bit and added a mile or two onto the velocity. 92 on this pitch by Miley. Actually not even where he wanted it. You could see he wanted it in on the hands. That ball sails up and away, but the result still goes his way.
Two up, 2 down, and Will Myers stepping in. Pitch moves away off the plate.
And Miley's been on a nice little run since the beginning of June. He went into that start that he had on June the 5th. He was 3-5 with an ERA of over 5. Since then, in 10 starts, just a 4-3 record. However, a 2.69 earned run average. He's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in all of those starts, 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of the 10.
Myers swings through that changeup.
And that was a pretty changeup from a lefty. Great arm action on that pitch by Miley.
Fastball away. It's now 3-1. Miley out of Louisiana. He was born in Hammond, Louisiana, in the New Orleans area, to southeastern Louisiana. And there's a strike on the corner. The Rays actually drafted him out of high school in 2005, and he went to college instead.
Boy, dots that fastball right on the outside corner for the second strike.
Full count to Will. And a fastball cut and a miss. A 1-2-3 inning for Miley in the first. On to the second. It's 2-0 Arizona. you by Mazda. Visit your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. By Toyota. Let's go places. By Coventry Healthcare. Coverage so you can keep living the life you want. Go live. We've got you covered. And by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Available at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. On to the second inning we go. Well, the catcher is going to lead it off. Nieves catching both games here in this short 2-game set. Lifted up the right side, a long run by Myers, but he will not be able to get there while falling behind the bullpen mound. We'll have Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, the number 9 hitter next, and then the top of the order, Parra. A curveball and a big one for a strike. 0-2.
Starts this ball in off the plate. Nieves gives up on it, and it just clips the inside corner.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Escobar's throw to first. One away in the second.
It'll be interesting to see, and Jeremy Hellickson, his changeup is always going to be a big pitch for him, but after the success that Hernandez had with his last night, and obviously a different style, Hernandez has more late finish on it than Jeremy's, who just kind of dies and never gets to the plate. But you got to believe, Jeremy said, I'm going to watch Roberto Hernandez and see how he pitches to these hitters, try to formulate my game plan since I've never seen him before.
Pennington fouling it back for a strike. That changeup, something that Hellickson has had dating back to his second year in the Rays minor league system. He pitched just a handful of innings in 2005, and then the next year at Hudson Valley started to dabble with that changeup. 1-1 to count to Pennington. And that has made all the difference for Hellickson. That changeup. A ball and 2 strikes. One thing we have not seen a lot of this year from Hellickson that we did see some last year is that cutter.
Yeah, he pretty much has shelved that pitch. And you know what? I think for the best. He really, the way that he's able, and especially right now, the way that he's able to manipulate the zone with his fastball and that changeup and the curveball, that's all he needs. It's something that he can add down the road, maybe in an occasional tight spot he wants to go to it. But his 3-pitch repertoire is good enough. And he's shown that in the last month and a half.
We got strike 2 to Pennington on the change, and now this one is lifted into right, back to the track, and Myers is there. Pennington lifts the fastball back into right field, and Myers had the range. 2 gone. So 2 outs in the second inning.
Big key for Jeremy Hellickson is to stay away from those pitches at the thigh and at the belt. Every pitcher wants to do that, especially with Jeremy. He's not blessed with a ton of movement on that fastball, so he needs to be precise with it. And that's what we've seen over that 7-start span where he's 6-0 with an ERA barely over 2. Everything down, down, down. When you can do stuff like that and just drop in a first pitch hook, something that Parra is probably not looking for, immediately gives you the advantage.
Gerardo Parra, 1 strike the count. He grounded out to first to start this ball game. Did he go? Yes, he did. Couple down at third. Says that's a swing. Madden has his club 21 games over 500. And a swing and a foul tip strikeout. Curveball takes care of Parra. 2-0 Arizona. Pediatric Cancer Foundation. For every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports, seasons total up to $12,000 now. Zobrist leads off the second, takes a high fastball. And hitting cleanup. Sean Rodriguez will follow, and then Ryan Roberts. It's 1-1. Rays are down 2-0. Diamondbacks scored 2 in the first. But Arizona's only 7-9 when they score 2 or more in the first. And that's a little unusual. In fact, that's the worst record in the major leagues.
It should be.
Scoring 2 or more in the first. 7-9. 2-2.
Well, that's something the Diamondbacks are going to have to continue to add on, because this Rays team is going to battle you to the final out. It's one of the fun things about this club, the resiliency of it. Not only for stretches of time, but just within a game. Falling down early, team does not get rattled. They do not change their approach.
Into center field. Pollock is there. Had a little stutter step coming in, and he made the catch for the first out. Let's check in with Todd Callis right now. Todd?
Dwayne, it is a Web Wednesday. A few viewers were wondering what you guys were reading or what you were talking about, BA, on the phone. But the first question is actually about the possibility of a Ray being a Rookie of the Year. A lot of fans want to know about Will Myers' chances. And also Chris Archer. There's also a guy in the bullpen who hasn't done too poorly either. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, there's a whole battle right here on the Rays roster for the Rookie of the Year. You've got Archer, Myers, and Torres. You could make a case for any one of those three. And of course, we saw the other rookies in contention. Iglesias now with the Tigers, traded over from Boston, and Nick Franklin with Seattle. But it would be, if you had to pick just from the Rays roster,
It's between those two.
It would be quite a challenge. Which way you go right there, pitching or hitting?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the run that Chris Archer has gotten on, not to take anything away from what Alex Torres has done, but if you're talking about the Rookie of the Year race with his position in the bullpen, if he's not racking up saves, that's probably going to hurt him. But legitimately, Chris Archer, if he continues to pitch like that, you make the case. But Will Myers has been extremely productive with the stick, and I think that's a coin flip. Truly, if it's between those two guys just on the Rays team, it's a complete coin flip. And this guy, again, not racking up the saves, but oh so important, came on the scene as a long guy, going to be a mop-up guy, had a couple of 4-inning outings just to bridge the gap and get through some tough games. And it was so good that Joe Madden was forced to move him to the back end where it's crowded down there. But he just continues to come in and get big out after big out.
Ryan Roberts takes a strike. Well, Myers, he was impressive from the day he came up. I mean, he was hitting home runs on big stages and all of that, and seemed right at home, whether it was at Fenway or Yankee Stadium, right in the middle of a race like this. And since the All-Star break, he led the major leagues in hitting with his hot streak, 16 out of 35, and 12 runs batted in for him in that stretch. So a strong case for Will Myers. Roberts just back from the Durham Bulls. Strike the count. Former Diamondback facing his former club. And it's 1-1.
That'll be the key for Ryan Roberts tonight, is not to get too excited at the plate. You're going to get a handful of at-bats. It is your former team. You definitely want to have a good game against them. You just got to stay within your game plan, within your approach off this particular pitcher, not try to do too much. That would be the temptation.
Well, he represents some of the depth that the Rays have already. You talk about the trading deadline, and the Rays apparently had some conversations going, but as Andrew Friedman said, there's nothing that really fit. And so they do add Jesse Crain, and they figure to have him come back from the shoulder situation and be available in the not too distant future. And Ryan Roberts, who has been up and down 2 or 3 times between the Rays and Durham, gives them some depth. 1-2, the pitch foul out of play.
And we've seen Ryan Roberts when he has come up in this role. He's not gotten discouraged when he's gone back to Durham. Certainly that's not where you want to be, and that would be, something that you can understand a guy going down there, and so I feel like a big league player. I am a big league player, but he has accepted it very well. And when he's got opportunities to come back up, even though they may have been limited in case in point, just the one game, hit a couple home runs in that game. Able to just come up and continue to do what he can to help the team.
Roberts out on strikes. Well, let's hear what Andrew Friedman had to say about the trading deadline.
The good thing is we're in a fortunate position where we don't have any obvious glaring issues and things that we had to address, and so it allowed us to be a little more selective, and we went through and had a lot of different conversations, and really it was about any way we could continue to fortify our depth. We were going to be aggressive to do so. We actually really like the guys that we have in AAA, but if we could do something to extend that line, that's something that we would have been aggressive to do, but nothing lined up, and we're happy with the guys we have.
Well, they have great depth, and they've actually extended that depth by creating the versatility that this club has featured in the Friedman-Madden era, and that's been a big part of keeping this team as successful as it's been. 1-1, and they have not been in those years big trading deadline teams.
No, no, piece here, a piece there. I think in past years, you had that desire to go make a splash. But this year, and we talked about it, once the trades and the trading deadline and all the talk started to heat up, and just like Andrew said, not a lot of glaring holes. That really no glaring holes. And Andrew had even said, if we can upgrade somewhere, we'll look into doing that. But we don't feel like we have to go and address any specific part of this team because they've all been clicking.
Well, it's certainly a position of strength. That trading deadline's it's like a poker game.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And so you don't show your hand. The Rays in a position where they didn't necessarily feel as if they had to add a piece, and when they do, they try to do it on more or less on their terms. Escobar fouls it out of play. The count is 2-2.
Well, the other thing that Andrew has said is with all of these discussions regarding players that they like, players that may feel it, all that does is it potentially sets the stage for off season. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the winter meetings and you pick up where those talks left off, and you've kind of already done some of the background work on them.
Full count.
Well, they may not have brought anybody in, can still be productive in the long run.
And they're always aware of other talent. I think a great example of that was Kelly Johnson. Friedman said a couple of weeks ago that he was a guy that they'd had interest in over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Runner goes on the 3-2 two-out pitch, and it's skied down the right field line. Foul. Couple of feet foul out of the reach of Parra. Well, regarding that trading deadline, let's take a look at tonight's AT&T social media poll. Which American League East rival improved themselves the most at the deadline? TB1, Boston, by getting Jake Peavy, or the Baltimore Orioles, TB2, by getting right-hander Bud Norris. Tweet your vote to @SunSportsRays.
What do you got?
Well, Norris, here's the deal. Peavy has been there, a veteran, and that's going to be a significant pickup. Escobar drives it high and deep into right center field, and over there right in front of the wall by the 370 marker, Parra makes the catch to retire the side. Through 2-0 Arizona.
Downsides to a 23-4 stretch. But Joe Madden talked about one last night. He talked about with all the success, you do not want to be looking back And, of course, you don't want to be looking forward either. So Madden put out a tweet, very simple, very Joe Madden-esque in his wording. He just talked about stay in the present, boys. It was very simple and kind of a Madden-y thing to say. He always has motivational notes everywhere in the locker room and wherever players could see it. In fact, on his lineup card last night, he had a very similar sentiment. Just stay in the moment, guys.
Well, that's what the Rays do.
I like the crooked lineup card there. It's a good move. There it is. That's fantastic.
And a little note to Ben Zobrist right beside it.
Someone had their eye exam today.
Oh, my
Goodness.
1-0 the count to Prado. Martin Prado leading it off here in the third. Hellickson, 2 balls, no strikes the count to Prado. Goldschmidt hits second, and then Chavez. That'll be a strike. It takes the count to 2-1. Hot shot up the left side. That's going to be just foul. Prado already has a double up the left field line in the first when he scored the initial run of the game. And just missed an extra base hit here.
Boy, just a little bit too quick. Couple of feet.
Hellickson facing Arizona for the first time in his career. Been on a great run right along with the Rays. Rays 23-4, 10-1 in interleague play. Won 11 of their last 13 to get to 21 over 500. And you go back to about the middle of June. That's when Hellickson got on this current run, 6 in a row, and the Rays have won all 7 of his starts in that stretch. He had a no decision against Minnesota, and the Rays won that game 4-3.
Well, it's just been consistency for Jeremy. You know, earlier in the year he was victimized by some big innings. He'd be rolling along, you know, give up some runs early and then maybe retire 13 in a row. Be rolling along, all of a sudden hit a bump, give up 4 or 5 runs. Very frustrating time for him.
Back down the middle to center. Jennings is there and puts it away. That's out number 1. Tonight's game available in Spanish via SAP, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. And here's Paul Goldschmidt. He's out of Texas State University in San Marcos. Grew up in the Houston area in the Woodlands. Pitch inside to him. 1-0. Boy, if you have baseball talent, you don't have to go to the biggest school in the country either. You go to a school where you can play a number of games. You play a lot of games and people are going to find you.
And that's the difference. You know, when you think about football, a big deal is always made if a guy comes out of a Division II school, because physically they're just not there. And when you get to the NFL, you better have all the physical attributes, you know, that they expect to be able to succeed. You know, you got to have the size, speed, and all that. But baseball, being a skill sport, you're right. you can play anywhere, and there's scouts out there. They will find you. You know, the key is obviously getting into a good summer league, because then they can go out to these different tournaments, and you know, all the teams are, you know, coming together and scout a lot of guys. But you're right, it does not matter where you are, what high school you go to, what college, what division it is. NAIA. I mean, look at Ben Zobrist out of Dallas Baptist, NAIA school. It doesn't matter. If you have the skills, they will find you and you'll get your opportunity.
Yeah, that's why the junior colleges, community colleges are so important, particularly in good weather locations where you can play a lot. And then the summer leagues, as you point out, very important in the development and the discovery of talent. Jerry Chavez. Pitch is a strike.
I will tell you this, though. The one thing that's interesting, you know, when you do go off to college, if it's financial aid or a scholarship, how important grades are for college baseball, because they don't have, you know, football, everybody gets a scholarship. You bring in 25 guys, you hand out 25 scholarships. If they lose a couple of them with, you know, grades and attrition along the way, so be it. That's going to happen. In baseball, that's not the case. You got like 11 and a half or 11.7 scholarships to divvy up with 30, 40 guys that are going to be on the team. So they can't afford to have someone coming in there and flunking out. That's what always astounded me getting recruited. The first thing they wanted to ask about was the grades, and I'm thinking, hey, listen, what about the heater? The heater coming downhill at you.
What? You didn't want to talk about grades first?
No. Who does? Who does? But that's how important it is. They can't afford to lose those spots, and that's those scholarship dollars, because they're so limited compared to some of the other sports, or the big ones like basketball and football.
I've been around you all this time, and I thought you were a grades first guy.
Listen, I put it together, Dwayne. I put it together.
I got you.
I just, I didn't like to toot my own horn about that 2-4 that I would carry.
Well, I know in your life who would be big about grades, and that would be Mom and Dad.
Listen, my mom assaulted Nate Leet, the team massage therapist in Boston, when you remember he did the edge walking in Toronto. Okay, so I'm introducing them after one of the games, and she went 2 high fingers into his chest, and I mean literally it was almost an assault. I saw the security guard looking at Mom like, slow down, and Nate was like, well, I know where this kid comes from. So yeah, you better believe it, she's all over the grades.
This one is down 2-2. So that's where you got the high left.
Oh, I'm telling you, Dwayne, if you could have seen this. And I think there was even an idiot dropped in a very fun way. But yeah, it was aggressive.
I'm sure you thought it was in a fun way too when you were on the receiving end, huh?
No.
2-2 lifted foul out. It's going to be out of play down the left side. The count holds at 2-2. But you're right, to get back to college ball, and Goldschmidt hitting started this little adventure into where you play college ball in the situation. You discover all that talent. But grades are important.
Yeah.
They absolutely are, for the reason you mentioned. Aside from just the idea it's always good to make good grades.
Oh, absolutely. Apply yourself.
All drive deep to right off the bat of Chavez. Down the line, and it's fair and gone. Chavez, who hit the foul pole last night in the 9th inning, just missed it. On the fair side, however, it's a 2-run home run, and Arizona takes a 4-0 lead.
Chavez once again, this pitch here getting out and flipping it down the line, very similar to last night. The ball a little bit down, that one middle of the plate. Last night a little bit closer middle in, but the result the same, right down the line. 2-run homer.
Well, he's been swinging the bat well for the better part of the last month for the Diamondbacks. He did spend some time on the DL and just got back at the end of June, and has come off and has hit well. Victimized the Rays twice here in the last 2 nights. 2-0 the count to Aaron Hill. 2-1. Fastball up and Hill swings through it. 2-2. It's the 17th home run given up by Hellickson this year. 12 of those to left-handed hitters. Line drive, that's a foul ball. Holds the count to 2-2. Jeremy had given up only 2 home runs this month. That's number 3. Most of those came early when he struggled. In fact, he went through June and gave up only 2 home runs. 12 over April and May, and he strikes out Hill on a changeup. 2 gone.
Well, you look at Jeremy, even like his month-by-month earned run average. You know, April it was 4.3, May it was almost 6.7, but then in June started to get under control, 3.53, and then July down into 2s. You see right there. And how about the record? 8-1. Out to win this one tonight, he's going to need the Rays bats to come alive here. Down by 4.
Cody Ross takes a fastball in off the plate. Well, that home run by Chavez, the first hit in 7 at bats off Hellickson. Little tapper, third base side. Roberts will make the pickup, and it's fair. And Ross has himself a base hit. Well, there was no chance to throw him out.
And that's why you let that roll. And more than likely, it's going to stay fair. But because you're not going to attempt to play anyway, you just keep your eye on the ball, you keep your eye on the runner, and you let that keep rolling. There's still a chance there that maybe you could end up foul, but no reason to come in and field it if you're not going to try and make a play.
An infield hit for Ross. J.J. Pollock. One ball, no strikes. It's a 1-1 count. Two balls and a strike. Hellickson made 30 pitches in the first and gave up 2 runs when Cody Rouse singled home Prado and Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt scored again here in the third on the home run by Eric Chavez. Two and 2. In the first and 30 here in the third. 71 already for Hellickson tonight.
Yeah, that number has gotten up there in a hurry. Just being the third inning, like you said.
Chopped to second. Zobrist with a toss to Escobar coming across the bag. 2 runs scored on the home run by Chavez. 4-0 Arizona. Enjoy the good life as they take on the Blue Jays Saturday, August 17th. After the game, One Republic takes the stage as part of the Rays Summer Concert Series, performing their hits Apologize, Feel Again, and Good Life. For tickets, visit raysbaseball.com/concerts. Jose Lobaton takes a strike. The bottom of the third is underway. That pitch on the outside corner. Fastball from Wade Miley. Fastball in the upper 80s. Pitch fouled away. 0-2.
And before you could get that out, then he comes with the changeup. I mean, he works extremely fast.
It reminds people of Mark Burley. Might throw a little harder, but he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he gets after it and does it.
Another nice off-speed pitch there by Miley to take down Jose Lobaton. Well, and that's the thing. Most pitchers do. You know, most pitchers, whether you take time out there or not, as soon as you throw the pitch, you see the hitter's reaction, you know how you want to pitch him anyway. A lot of times you already have an idea what you want to do with the next one.
Sam Fole getting the start against the lefty and leans back to take the pitch for a ball. Sam overall 200 this year, but 343 against lefties.
Well, that's part of the reason for the Rays' success as a team against left-handers. Not only left-handed starters, but just left-handers in general. They hit them better than anybody in baseball by a wide margin, but it's the left-handed hitters getting involved that has made them extremely dangerous.
Ground ball to second, off the glove of Hill, recovers and throws, and still gets Sam Fole. Boy, that was a quick recovery by Hill after the ball deflected off his glove.
Well, and it had to be, because Sam Fole, he's always running hard. That's one of the things about him. Not going to take a play off. Right there, already running hard, and has to reach back quickly just to get him by half step.
Desmond Jennings takes a look at the off-speed pitch, a changeup, and it was a little bit wide. Two and 0. Miley has been given a 4-run lead. Foul ball back. Speaking of a 4-run lead, Houston has a 4-0 lead over the Orioles in Baltimore. Robbie Grossman up with the Astros, hit a 2-run home run and a 4-run second. His first home run. Grossman, a local product in Houston from Cy-Fair High. Fly ball back into left center. Ross cutting to his left, though, and he makes the catch. Jennings out, and so are the Rays. 1, 2, 3. We go to the fourth. 4-0 Arizona. Trent takes a look at the American League East foray into interleague play this year. The Rays leading the pack 10-1. The Red Sox 7-2. Everybody over 500 in the division except the Yankees. They're 5-8.
Yeah, the Rays definitely take care of business. And you know what this reminds me of here, this Toyota Trent doing? You know what we've not had enough of?
And what would that be?
Interleague stats.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they're not the kind of stats that you're going to come across every day. You know, it's kind of a special occurrence. And we just haven't had that many interleague stats to banter about back and forth.
Here's the question. How do you make those apply?
They're just fun to look at.
Some things you do just for fun.
Right.
Just for the fun of it.
Interleague stats is one of them.
Just for fun. There's a strike to Will Nieves.
I think they're cute.
Particularly the interleague statistics over a period of years.
Oh, I love that. The 3-year, over the last 3 seasons of interleague play, you know, Johnny Swing the Bat is hitting 372.
Yeah, this is how you hit against strangers.
Right, over 3 years, 8 times a year.
Yeah.
How about who cares in all capitals?
It's just hard to make any rhyme or reason of that. Look at Nieves. His interleague career, 230.
What did we learn from that?
He chops one up the middle.
237.
As a base hit.
Actually, his interleague career is probably so short, the game's so few that 230 just went to 310.
How about Jeremy Hellickson now? 7 starts, 1-3 in interleague play with a 641.
Ask and you shall receive. Now the interleague stats are coming hot and heavy.
Well, you asked for it.
Yep.
And so you get them all.
You're going to help.
Put Pennington up here. The pitch is down, a ball to no strikes. Pennington hit a fly ball deep to right in the 2nd inning. Quick move to first, and Nieves back in. Torres is going to get up and go to work in the bullpen here. Hellickson picks up a strike at the knees. Hellickson getting close to 80 pitches, and he's only facing his 2nd hitter here in the 4th inning. And that's why Torres starts to move around in the Rays bullpen. Fly ball short center. Jennings coming in a hurry is there to make the catch. Hustling back to first, the Diamondbacks catcher Nieves.
Too much speed. Too much speed covers too much ground. I mean, you had better either skull the ball, I mean, just really crush it to get over his head. And if you hit one in front of him, you better really deaden it. Because if it hangs up there, it's just no chance that he's not going to get to it.
Well, look at the range on this one, BA, coming in.
And he's slowing up.
And then think about the range, the ability he has to go back and run a great route to make catches.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, you just got to catch him position where you don't hit it, and you had better hit it extremely hard. He will run it down.
Base hit. Change up that stayed up. Hara is aboard. Down to second goes Nieves.
This is one of those tough games right now that Jeremy Hellickson finds himself in. It started off, you know, a tough call that goes against him. Actually should have been out of that first inning. It was extended because of a safe call that shouldn't have been. Cody Ross fouled that up with a base hit, cost him 2 runs. The home run by Chavez right down the line. And now the Diamondbacks able to get a couple of more runners on base here with just 1 out.
So 2 men on, 1 away. Martin Prado will be the hitter. Just a reminder, You enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Curveball that missed. Curveball there, not much bite to it. The changeup prior to that was up. Pitch is a strike, 1-1. Toronto 0 for 4 last night, but a double and a run scored tonight. And his production for the Diamondbacks been a little bit of a mystery. He's been such a good hitter in the National League in his time with the Braves, and the Diamondbacks were happy to have him on their club and still think that he's going to be more than just a supplemental part of their offense.
Yeah, and I would agree. Good. Great approach at the plate, hit the ball all over the place. And it's not like he changed leagues either. You know, staying in the National League, he's seeing the same pitching. No reason to believe that if he's healthy, he's not going to be productive.
Conference on the mound that takes up a little time for Torres in the bullpen. Ground ball third. Roberts to second, 1. First base 2. 5-4-3. Zobers had to reach in the middle, but made the catch and turned the double play all at the same time, retiring Arizona. We go to the bottom half of the 4th. 4-0 Diamondbacks. In the middle of that double play on that ground ball to third by Prado.
Yeah, the throw a little bit offline, but you see him right there able to catch that ball while coming across the bag, keep the foot on the bag. Some nifty footwork there and avoid trying to get flipped out there at second base to make the return throw.
Longoria hitting a little roller to first. Back of the bag, Goldschmidt with the flip to Miley. So Longoria's out on the first pitch. That off-speed pitch got him.
You know, and that's interesting, too, because Ben Zobrist, you know, we talk about the feeds of Evan Longoria, and they're always pretty much right on the money. And obviously, you can get lazy mentally. Like, well, this ball's just going to come to me and not be ready and anticipate a throw that's slightly offline. And that ball, Ryan Roberts, just a hair offline, but in anticipation of that, he's able to set his footwork and make that play. And I'll tell you what, the footwork for Ben Zobrist at second base has really taken off now that he's out there every day.
Yeah, and all of that goes to preparation and mental awareness, and Zobrist has a lot of each.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now Will Myers. Myers struck out on a fastball its first time after going to 3-2. 4 strikeouts in this game by Miley through the first 3 1/3 innings. And the Rays are still looking for their first hit.
It is
strike one.
It is so much fun to be able to sit up here and watch that Rays infield at work. I mean, every position.
Down to third. That's fair. Might have hit the back of the bag and kicks toward foul territory. And a big turn by Myers. So there's a base hit. The Rays have their first hit. And Myers has a 12-game hitting streak.
Now Martin Prado is expecting this ball to bounce up. He's going to backhand a chopper. But I think that's exactly what happened. As it comes down, it hits the back edge of the bag and stays down. Expecting the hop, and right there, it skips off the bag, stays down, and off the edge of the glove.
One on, one out. And here is Ben Zobrist. There's a strike. Strike the count to Ben. Seattle has a 1-0 lead in Boston. There's a base hit. Just fair up the left field line. Extra bases. Myers on his way to third. Into second goes the throw. And Zobrist with a stand-up double. So suddenly the Rays have something brewing here in the 4th inning. It's Ben's 26th double of the year.
Now chip away, you need base runners. Rays are able to get their first hit, and then this ball middle, trying to get it in, stays out over the plate. Zobrist just hammers it down the line. He has been swinging a hot bat coming out of the All-Star break from both sides of the plate. And puts the Rays in position here to cut into this Diamondback lead.
Sean Rodriguez. Sean takes a pitch too low. Now Rodriguez ahead in the count. So the Rays second time through have put up their first scoring opportunity. This becomes a big spot here with the Rays down by 4 in the bottom of the 4th. High fly ball toward the left field line. Ross makes the catch and the runners will hold. Ross uncorks that one right back down the line. And no chance for the Rays to get a run on that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dwayne, the one thing that we did see last night from this Diamondback team is across the outfield, these guys can throw the baseball. I mean, this maybe one of the best throwing outfields in the game, and Ross uncorks that. No chance to send anybody. We saw Parra let go of a couple last night.
Yeah, Parra has 9 assists so
Yeah.
far this year.
Well, and you know what? And those numbers will eventually go down. And you'll say, well, he's not having the same kind of year. He's not throwing guys out. Well, that's because guys are going to stop running on him.
Yeah, they get smart.
Yeah. Say, forget it. Too many outs on the base paths. We're not going to challenge it. They'll test you. You do, a year or two of 9+, 10+, and all of a sudden you don't get that many opportunities.
Ryan Roberts, who struck out his first time. 1 strike to count. Carlos Gonzalez with 10, and Parra and Andrew McCutchen each with 9. Parra already has a Gold Glove in the National League. Roberts finds himself behind in the count again. 2 strikes.
The slider by Miley. It's hard, 84 miles an hour. It's tight, and it's got that good depth to it. It's not, the slider that sometimes guy will have a sweeping type of slider. This has sharp bite down towards the ground.
And a swing and a miss. The slider takes care of Roberts, and the Rays miss an opportunity, trailing 4-0. That's what the Rays have been doing in the month of July. 21-4, and the starter ERA is 2.10 with 7 complete games in the month.
It's just astounding what this pitching staff has been able to do. Not to mention the offense at that average, 26 home runs, and it's getting to the point where if the Rays lose a game, and obviously they're going to, maybe between now and the end of the year, you're almost shocked by it. Everything's going so well that they bring their A game, it seems, every single night. Play good, sound, fundamental baseball.
Paul Goldschmidt ready to lead off the 5th. Then Eric Chavez and Aaron Hill. Cut and a miss on a fastball, strike 1. Well, the Rays came into this game for the month, as we saw on that graphic, 21-4. A win tonight would give them the 2nd best July in Major League history. As long as you're tabulating wins and losses, they're 21-4. The 41 Yankees were 25-4. Two balls and a strike to Goldschmidt. The Rays have had 3 pitchers in the American League. 7 pitchers have as many as 4 wins this month. Price has 5. Archer and Moore also have 4 wins. And Hellickson had 3 for the month coming into this game. It's Myers to make the catch on the fly ball by Goldschmidt. With 1 out and the base is empty, we'll check in with Todd.
We continue on a Web Wednesday with our first look at Jesse Crain, our first listen to him as we caught up with him before the game. You see he was acquired from the Chicago White Sox. In exchange, the Rays will give either a player to be named later or cash considerations to be determined later. What a season he was having with Chicago. Here's Crain before the game.
Meanwhile, Eric Chavez takes a pitch high.
Obviously, I want to be out there as soon as I can be, but I realize, you got to be healthy for the rest of the season. You got to, make sure you do it the right way. So we're going to get that, talk and kind of get a plan together and go from there.
Said he heard from Jeff Keppinger before he left the White Sox, and Keppinger told him how much fun it was to be a part of this clubhouse. And guys, our question is from the fans, what kind of impact do you think Jesse Crain could have on this team in 2013?
2-0 to Chavez. Now ball 3-0. Well, an arm like that, a healthy Jesse Crain in that bullpen gives them great depth. And what he can do when they get him back healthy. You recall how good the bullpen was. Go back to 2008 and the depth in the bullpen. And that's been a feature of the Rays' success. Crain is more of the same.
And you can imagine too if he's able to come back healthy, and you add him in September, and then all of a sudden you get into those tough games. You talked about that stretch to end the year, 20 straight games against tough competition. Get into some extra inning type situations, and you can just continue to run quality out of that pen all the way and just outlast the other bullpen that you're facing.
Well, this 1-out walk here in the 5th spell the end of the evening for Jeremy Hellickson. The Metro PCS call to the bullpen. At your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Checkers, Feast On, and by the Smurfs 2 in theaters July 31st. Alex Torres, the new pitcher for the Rays. He inherits a runner at first with 1 out, 4 1/3 for Hellickson tonight, and 92 pitches. Gave up the home run to Chavez. So far, 4 runs, and the runner on would be held to his account. First pitch to Aaron Hill is high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Just one of those nights for Jeremy. Just wasn't as sharp as he normally has been. These guys are not perfect, even though night after night they show you just how talented they are. There is an off night every now and then.
Roller foul. Steve Sachs with the pick, and perfect toss into the front row of the stands. One and one to count. Too high. 2-1. So tonight's outing, in terms of innings, the shortest outing of the year for Hellickson. He made 92 pitches in 4 1/3. Two and two. Two runs in the first and 2 runs in the third. And the 1-out walk in the 5th. 1 on, 1 out. And that takes care of Hill. Fastball from Torres strikes out the Arizona second baseman.
Aaron Hill just got a little bit too long in that swing, and Torres crowds him with this heater. Swing gets a little long, never able to get there. And Torres able to slip it by him. Strike out there.
Now Cody Ross. Ball, no strikes. Spent last year with the Boston Red Sox. 22 home runs for the Red Sox last year. Lines it into left. That's in there for a base hit. Hold in front of it. Chavez up to second. That gives Ross 3 for 3 tonight. A.J. Pollock, the center fielder. Pitch is low. Pollock came into the game hitting .251. He had .247 last year in 31 games for the Diamondbacks. Foul right at the plate. 1-1. Mentioned his last time up. He's out of University of Notre Dame and led their program in hitting for 3 consecutive years. Line drive going to be caught by Escobar. That will retire Arizona. 2 men left, bottom of the 5th coming, 4-0 Rays trail. to you, the Rays have sold out the Papa John's bullpen box for the remainder of the 2013 season. To find out about other great group outings here at Tropicana Field, contact Group Sales at 855-GROUP-TB or email groupsales@raysbaseball.com. Miguel Escobar will open the home half of the 5th inning. First pitch way high from Wade Miley. Brock Holt, who has joined the Red Sox from their minor league affiliate at Pawtucket, with Jose Iglesias being traded to the Tigers. There's a little tap in front of the plate, picked up by the Evans, and the throw to first gets him. Holt has doubled in a couple of runs, and the Red Sox have taken a 2-1 lead. So it's 2-1 Boston with 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. So he doubled in a run and scored a run, actually. Lobatone taking pitch for a strike. Some wondering if Xander Bogaerts would get the call after the trade of Iglesias, and instead it's Brock Holt up there right now.
Sounds like a newsman.
Could be. Yep.
Right now a third baseman. Productive one too.
Or he could be in a rodeo.
Brock Holt. Yeah, I can see him going 8 seconds.
Pollock makes the catch. Lobatone out number 2. Coming out of shoot number 3.
Yeah.
Base is empty. Here's Sam Fuld.
Wade Miley has been quietly dispatching Rays hitters pretty efficiently. You see that pitch count up there, 65 through 4 2/3.
And the Rays have just the 2 hits. Left 2 men in scoring position, and the 4th has been their only scoring threat tonight so far. And he gets Fuld to chase this fastball up.
I'll tell you, he works quickly, moves that ball around. The fastball, he attacks with it. We've seen some pretty good changeups, so some very good sliders.
Well, you've got to like a pitcher who works quickly and moves the ball around.
Yeah.
Because that gives him such an advantage. He knows what he's going to do, and if he can do it, and he's been doing that so far tonight, his location's been good. He has 5 strikeouts. He's walked only 1.
Well, the hitter, he doesn't have time to think through his at bat. I mean, he's up there just trying to foul him around the zone. And if he's changing speeds and able to hit his spots to go along with that good slider that we've seen when he throws it down.
Fuld fouls this fastball away. That might have been off the plate, but at 2-2, you can't take the chance, and he just defending the zone fouls it.
Don't put your fate into the hands of an umpire on those borderline pitches. You got to just fight to at least foul them off. There's that slider.
He is out on strikes. So a 1-2-3 inning. On to the 6th, 4-0 Arizona. Base hit by Cody Ross, chased home Prado and Goldschmidt, and Eric Chavez hit one just inside the foul pole tonight in right field in the third. That came with Goldschmidt aboard to make it 4-0. Rays had a threat with minutes second and third and one out in the fourth, but left him on. And at the end of 5, the Rays are down 4-0. Jeremy Hellickson out of the game after 4 1/3, and Alex Torres came on. Got the final 2 outs in the 5th, giving up a hit. Picked up a strikeout along the way, and he faces Will Nieves, the catcher. Lifts it into right center field, and there goes Jennings to make the catch. Any opportunity at all, and Jennings is going to be there to make the grab.
Okay, here's how I go, Dwayne. I see ball off bat. I look up, and already I've looked down and started to put F8 into my scoreboard.
Yep.
You just know he's getting it. Can't hang up there for too long. Too much speed.
Good speed, good routes.
Good jumps. That's a deadly combination.
Yeah, he quietly has just been superb in center field. Not a lot of flash, not a lot of attention called to himself. He just does a great job out there.
Well, and you know what else? He doesn't have the highlight reel plays because
he's too good.
He gets there.
That's exactly right.
Doesn't have to dive.
That's right. He might be the best center fielder you see never to be on a highlight reel.
Yeah, that would definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Definitely agree with that, because you think back and how many times he's gone over the wall or how many times he's gone into the gap. And first of all, Rays pitchers don't give up too many out in center field. And then when he runs down those balls in the gap, he runs them down, is able to stay on his feet. Not too many times does he have to leave his feet.
Swing and a miss. Pennington out on strikes. Fastball up, got him. 2 up, 2 down.
He'll let it fly up in the zone. A pitch that will give hitters trouble for the rest of time. You get a little velocity, you get it close to the eyes. Looks good, looks big. Tough to get to.
Rays have Farnsworth up in the bullpen. Gerardo Parra 1 for 3 at the plate for the Diamondbacks. Fastball, call the ball. Chopper, first base, just foul. 1-1. Alex Torres out of Venezuela facing Parra. Parra from Venezuela as well. Came up in 2009 with Arizona. Into center field. Jennings right there waiting. 3 up, 3 down. Rays half of the 6th coming. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers tonight from Tropicana Field. Rays and the Diamondbacks concluding this 2-game set. And the Diamondbacks with 2 in the first and 2 in the third lead 4-0. Top of the order, Desmond Jennings up there as the Rays start their 3rd time through the order against the left-hander Wade Miley. Ground ball, deep short, backhanded by Pennington, and a quick, strong throw in time to get Jennings. One away, and we'll check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, the Red Sox coming into tonight trailing the Rays by a half game. They're playing the Seattle Mariners at Fenway Park, and with a 2-1 score, Kendrys Morales with his fly ball to left field. Humberto Quintero rumbles home just in front of the throw by Mike Harp, and they were tied at 2. Then one batter later with 2 on and 2 outs, Raul Ibanez singles into right. Brad Miller at great speed easily scores in front of the throw. Mariners take a 3-2 lead on the Red Sox, who scored their 2 runs on a couple of errors, a couple of unearned runs earlier in the game, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Evan Longoria with a 1-0 count. 0 for 2 tonight. 2 balls, no strikes. We'll keep an eye on that Boston score. The Rays up by a half game in the American League East. Best record in the American League at 64-43. Rays really have only had 1 threat tonight. That came in the 4th inning when Myers singled with 1 out and went to 3rd on the Vin Zobrist double. Makes it 3-1. And Evan is aboard. 1 out walk. Let's see what the Rays can do about building on that. Well, Houston all over the Orioles tonight. They had a 4-run second, a 5-run 4th, and they've added another run in the top of the 6th. It's 10-0 Houston over Baltimore.
Wow. Well, you know who's going to have to slow down that Astro offense tomorrow night, Dwayne?
Bud Norris.
How about that? You get traded, you walk from one clubhouse to the other, and then they tell you, by the way, you're facing your old mates on Thursday night. So it's going to be up to Bud Norris to stop the bleeding for the Baltimore Orioles against the Astros. That is wacky, wild stuff.
Finally misses on the first pitch to Will Myers. Here the Rays trying to figure out this 26-year-old left-hander.
Yeah, well, he's had them befuddled. Apparently my speech, too. But what he's done is he's just worked quickly, thrown a lot of strikes, moved the fastball around, slider, a changeup. He's been in attack mode for the first 5 innings, 5 1/3. The Rays have been on their heels a little bit.
Been tough to figure here so far tonight. That man out of a small town in Louisiana admits to hunting alligators.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you earlier had said he was from Louisiana, I'm glad that you backed that up with some fact, because I was going to say, look, Dwayne, just because a guy has a straggly beard, unkempt, does not mean he's from Louisiana. But you know.
He hunts alligators, and everybody in his family can cook.
See,
great food coming out of Louisiana.
Oh, I mean, that I'll tell you what, that's one thing that's absolutely true. They church it up too. A little spice, a little gumbo action.
They said, we just came from New York. Diamondbacks went to New York, stayed in the same hotel we do. He got out of the hotel, walked about 2 blocks, and went right back to his room. Too many people, didn't like it, staying in the hotel.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Well, it is a zoo. I mean, truly. So, yeah, if you're an alligator hunter, NYC, probably not for you.
No. And if you do, you don't want to find any of the gators in the subterranean parts of Manhattan.
No. Not when you can hitch a ride on the back of a rat.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Will Myers with Ben Zobrist due up to follow. Longoria's at first. We hit foul. Tom Foley is going to distribute a souvenir. The night is complete for that young man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Into the dirt. Blocked by Nieves and a full count on Myers.
Yeah, that was a nice block and some good hop back there by Nieves. This is not easy. Out in front of the plate, but look at him. Make sure that arm knocked it down and quickly right after it. Nobody's advancing on that one. Appreciate that effort. But you don't always see it.
"3-2, foul ball." So Myers still alive. Will extended his hitting streak to 12 in the 4th inning of this game.
Will Myers telling himself to stay back. Stay back. Full count. Change up there.
This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat. And Will draws the walk. Back-to-back walks. So 2 men on with 1 out. San Francisco Giants are coming in, and here's what's coming up Friday on Rays Live. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers, the defending world champions in town. Take a look back at the 2008 draft, relevant with that series. And Archer and Bumgarner. Madison Bumgarner will do the pitching against Chris Archer in the opening game of that series. We'll have it beginning at 6:30 with the Rays Live, the pregame. Big conference on the mound by the Diamondbacks. And Heath Bell gets up in their bullpen. Myers at first, Longoria at second with 1 out. Here's Ben Zobrist. First pitch strike.
Well, here is your opportunity to break through. It has been a tough go of it for the Rays offense tonight, but Miley, a couple of free passes, and the Rays have their shot.
Upstairs with a fastball. It's 1-1. Miley about to make his 90th pitch of the game. And is up in that same spot, missing again with a fastball. 2-1. '21 pitches back in the 2nd, on the verge of his 20th pitch here in the 6th. And a liner into center field, but it's going to hang up and be caught by Pollock. Zobrist hit the fastball and lined it to center, and Pollock makes the catch.
Now, all you can ask your hitters to do is go up there, have a productive at-bat, and hit the ball hard. And that's exactly what Ben Zobrist did. Had a line drive, and sometimes it's right at guys.
Sean Rodriguez. The first pitch fastball is a strike to get the count running in Miley's favor. Sean walked his first time, 0 for 1. Came into the game hitting .260 against left-handed pitching. Both his home runs off lefties this year. Rays could use a long one right here. They're down by 4. And a strike. Fastball up and away, but in that part of the strike zone. Or maybe it wasn't. Fox track says it was off the plate. A couple of walks, and the Rays have 2 base runners. Rodriguez is out on strikes. That slider that's been good for him tonight chalks up another strikeout. We're through 6, 4-0 Arizona. Back by popular demand, the Joe Nome makes his return to Tropicana Field this Saturday, August 3rd. The Rays take on the Giants. This is your last chance to get your hands on the hottest item of the season, Joe Nome, presented by Sun Sports and available to the first 10,000 fans. Visit RaysBaseball.com. Kyle Farnsworth, pitcher number 3 for the Rays tonight.
Kyle on for the 36th time, a perfect 2-0 record. 28 innings of work. We're going to keep this Diamondback lead right here at 4, hoping the Rays offense can get back into it.
Pitch to Martin Prado is down. Prado, then Paul Goldschmidt and Eric Chavez due up. And there's the big left-hander, Jake McGee, already getting loose in the bullpen. 1-1 the count.
Well, this is where you buy your offense opportunities. When you are able, you know, the starter, Jeremy Hellickson, not as sharp as we normally see him. And he gets hit for 4 runs, although you could argue that 2 of them should have never had the opportunity to score. But regardless of that, you keep rolling out quality arms out of that bullpen. You keep that lead at 4. And you give your offense a chance. Now, whether they take it or not, or able to cash in, time will tell. But you can buy yourself that time.
Line drive, and it's through the left side. A base hit for Prado. He's 2 for 4 tonight. The single leads off the 7th.
Well, he got a mistake there out over the plate, and Prado just hammered it through the hole. Nobody was going to get to that.
Paul Goldschmidt. He's been hit by a pitch and has walked and has scored both times he's been on. Last time he had a fly ball to right, caught by Myers. Pitch is high. Goldschmidt, just 25 years old. He'll be 26 in September. That's a strike. He opened a few eyes in Arizona last year. He had a home run there against the Brewers that traveled 471 feet.
Wow. Wow.
That's when they started to think about signing him to a multi-year deal.
Right? That's rarefied air, 471. Well, how about that? You know, he hit 280 plus last year, had 20 home runs, drove in 82. Gets an extension. That was his first full year in the big leagues. He got that extension at the end of March. And wow, he's already exceeded his total home runs and RBIs already.
Ground ball through the right side, a base hit. So 2 men on and nobody out against Farnsworth in the 7th inning. It'll bring up the left-handed bat of Eric Chavez and also get Joe Madden out of the Rays dugout. So Prado and Goldschmidt have singled, and we have a Metro PCS called to the bullpen.
$2 kids night here. A lot of people taking advantage of this special promotion for the Rays. Don't forget, coming up on Sunday when the Rays wrap up this homestand, you can get this backpack courtesy of Fresh for Florida Kids right here. Kids 14 and under get this backpack, and there's a matching lunchbox to come 2 weeks later. So this Sunday against the Giants, 10,000 kids 14 and under get this backpack. And there's a lot of kids here, guys. They're all wanting to get on TV. So I'll just send it back to you. Everybody's waving already, so I don't have to say wave. Back to you guys.
All right. Surrounded there. And they like the backpack, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at Todd. Look at Todd.
All future voters.
Putting his Herbie Hancock on the ball.
New pitcher is Jake McGee.
Starting to unravel.
Chavez, the left-handed hitting DH. One and 0. So it's a 4-0 game, and McGee trying to get out of this spot. 2 men on and nobody out. Chavez hit a home run down the right field line in the 3rd inning of this game. Hit one in the 9th last night that hit that foul pole. He just missed the right field foul pole with his 9th home run of the year in the 3rd inning. It's 2-1. Jamie Wright up in the bullpen. Base hit up the middle. Prado goes to 3rd and heads home. 3 straight hits. The run charged to Farnsworth. And that makes it 5-0 Arizona.
I'll tell you what Eric Chavez did on that particular hit. 2-1 count against the hard-throwing Jake McGee, and he didn't overswing. You see a lot of guys 2-1, they really get aggressive. Didn't overswing at all. Just a nice, simple approach. Hit that ball right back up the middle. And here it is. Very simple.
Here's Aaron Hill. Pitch is too low. Hill had the infield hit in the 1st inning. That was that close play at first that went against Hellickson and the Rays. Struck out twice since then. The chopper going to be foul. It's a 1-1 count. 5 runs, 11 hits now for Arizona. Houston makes it 11-0 over Baltimore. The Orioles now hitting in the bottom of the 7th inning. One and 2. Ball right back. Still nobody out here in the top of the 7th. Rays got the complete game last night from Roberto Hernandez. McGee's last outing came Sunday in the New York series. Sean Rodriguez in foul territory after this pop-up. Hill is out number 1 in the 7th. And Joe Madden up out of the Rays dugout again, and he's going to go to the bullpen. So McGee faces 2 hitters, and the Metro PCS call to the bullpen once again. Saturday baseball returns. Adrian Beltre and the Rangers travel to Oakland, taking on Josh Donaldson and the AL West leading Athletics. Fox Saturday baseball begins this week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Central. From the Trop tonight, Jamie Wright is pitcher number 5 for the Rays. He's on to face Cody Ross. Runners at first and second and 1 out. Ross has a 3-for-3 night with 2 runs batted in going. Pitch is high. Hellickson for 4 to third. Torres for an inning and 2/3. Farnsworth 2 hitters, 2 hits, and so far 1 run charge to him. McGee at third, and now Jamie Wright inherits a couple of base runners. One and one. Broken bat, the ground ball to third. Down to Zobrist 1. Over to Rodriguez 2. 5-4-3 on the double play. Bottom of the 7th coming. 5-0 Arizona.
The game, as he said he felt it a little bit in his elbow after a changeup against the Yankees. Here are his thoughts on the injury.
Not really sure exactly, what caused it, or if there was something that caused it, or if it was just fatigueness. It was going to happen either way. But it's kind of a fortunate situation. If something like this did have to happen with the amount of off days and as well as we're throwing the ball right now, I don't think we should skip a beat at all.
So, Matt, guys, with all the off days, they have 4 coming up in the first 12 days of August, will probably be ready to go when the Rays come off that West Coast trip. He is pretty much fine. He's not sure if he's going to travel with the team, but they don't anticipate it's going to be much more than his disabled list day, which was retroactive to yesterday, or actually to Monday since he pitched on Sunday. So there you see elbow soreness, but expect to see him back as soon as he can come off the DL.
All right, thank you very much. The Rays with a couple of their young star pitchers now on the DL. Alex Cobb, of course, and now Matt Moore. And they're, as you pointed out, hopeful that it'll be just before the middle of August. And about that same time, We might see Cobb. They're not going to push that. Alex was talking about that the other day. He also slowed by the blister. And you're not going to rush either one.
Well, and the other thing is, that was a nice pitch right there. Miley to pick up the strikeout looking. Because as you get into this time of year, disabled list situations, you can't afford setbacks. Because if you have a guy on a rehab assignment mid to late August, and all of a sudden there's a setback, now what?
Yeah.
Now you're looking at maybe getting them for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So you've got to err on the side of caution and make sure when they come back they're ready to go, because there is, just no time for setbacks at this time of year. So you got to be cautious with it. And I love the decision with Matt Moore and Alex Cobb. You got to be careful with that blister, no question.
Escobar takes the pitch wide. The strikeout of Roberts, the 8th of the game for Miley. Well, and if you're in Alex Cobb's position, for an example, it can be frustrating to be on the DL and you want to get back there. He was liking that too. When you were a kid, all your friends are out playing, you have to stay in the house.
Yeah.
The same kind of thing.
Yeah. And you've got to fight the urge to not be 100% honest with the training staff. No way implying that Alex Cobb has done that or anybody else has, but there's always that feeling, having been on the disabled list, is you want to say you feel a little bit better than you actually do.
Yep. To
try to speed things up, and you can't do that because that could end up biting you in the long run. So you have got to be 100% upfront and honest, with the training staff, so that they can give you the best possible care and set the best possible course for your return.
Escobar walks with 1 out. The Rays have a base runner. How difficult was that for you, to be honest?
It's terrible. It is difficult because you want to be back out there. There's nothing worse than going on the, well, I shouldn't say there's nothing worse, but it's awfully bad when you go on the disabled list in the big leagues, any league really, but in the big leagues, you become a forgotten man. I don't care how important you are to the team or what kind of star you are or not. When you go on the disabled list, the game moves along without you. They got to prepare for that next ball game. Guys got to get ready. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, after a week or two, you're a forgotten man. You're rehabbing early. You're getting their early treatment. You're in the weight room. You're out playing catch, taking ground balls, playing catch early. No one cares anymore. I mean, it's one of those things that you hate to be a part of because you feel completely detached from the team. And you want to do anything you can to get back there. And so the tendency is, I can pitch with this, I can do this. And so you want to...
Well, it would seem to me a 1-1 count to Lobaton here. There's that fine line between knowing that there are times when, in your case, you're going to have to pitch through some things.
Yeah.
And then deciding when, we probably shouldn't try to pitch through this.
Is it sore or is it pain?
Yeah.
That's the judgment that you've got to make. I mean, you're going to be sore. I mean, let's face it. You start racking up 120, 130, 150 innings, getting close to 200. There's going to be some days you don't feel as good, but you have to understand and know your body well enough to know the difference between just normal season-long soreness and a twinge, a pain, something that's not normal.
Back at third, backhanded by Prado, drops it, picks it up and throws. Not in time. Lobaton safely in at first. It's going to be an error charge to Prado. He made a nice stop on the ball, but when he saw it pop away, he had to rush, and Lobaton safely in.
Right here, got a chance to make the play, and as he tries to pull it out of his glove, he loses control of it. And that gives Lobaton the window of opportunity that he needs right there. Just not able to grasp that ball cleanly. And the Rays here, another opportunity. 2 men aboard, just 1 out.
Well, they had 2 men on with 1 out in the 4th. Did not score. They had 2 men on with 1 out in the 6th. And did not score. 2 on with 1 out in the 7th inning. After a quick visit to the mound, Miley set to continue, and Sam Fuld will be the Rays hitter.
Old school approach here, too. Yep. First and second now, later in the game, 110 pitches, and they're sticking with the youngster.
Sam Fold takes the pitch down, 1-0. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. I saw the twinkle in your eye when you said that. Old school 110 pitches, they're sticking with the guy.
Yeah.
There was a twinkle in your eye. Oh, popper back at third. That's going to be foul. Just outside the line. Thought for a moment it had a chance to fall in among Prado, Pennington, and Ross, but it was foul.
Boy, this could have been huge for the Rays. That ball drops in fair. Chance for a big inning. Try to climb back in this down by 5. Yeah, you don't see that very much. Usually you get to a point where a guy stays in this situation. He's got 8 to 10 years in the big leagues, and he's in his 30s. You don't do it with too many young guys, but you just look down in that dugout and look at their coaches they have down there. It starts with the manager, Kurt Gibson, Charles Nagy, pitching coach, Matt Williams, Steve Sachs, a bunch of old school.
Don Baylor's in there.
A gritty group.
Yeah,
it's a gritty group, and that's the way they're going to play it.
2-2 now. Last night I saw Don Baylor and Matt Williams come out and visit with Don Zimmer before the game.
Yeah, that's all of them right there, by the way. The whole group.
Count's going to go to 3-2. Desmond Jennings on deck. Important pitch right here. The 3-2, and he just missed. He threw him a 3-2 slider, and Fold stood there and took it for ball 4, and the bases are loaded. That a very big pitch, and the final pitch of the evening for this young left-hander, Wade Miley. Look at Miley.
Yeah, not happy at all with that call, but that was not an aggressive slider by Miley. That was like, I'm trying to roll that in there for a strike. He didn't get quite all the way in front. Stayed up and out.
So pitching change coming. Wade Miley departs, pitching 1 out into the 7th inning, and he leaves with the bases loaded. 116 pitches for the 26-year-old left-hander.
Now, he really threw the ball very well tonight. For the Diamondbacks, the only chink in the armor was the 5 walks. And that last one to Sam Fold ended his night. We'll bring on Heath Bell for the 45th time. 45 strikeouts in 40 2/3 innings.
Desmond Jennings with the bases loaded. facing Bell. Bell's first pitch is in there for a strike. Little curveball. Blocked this time by Nieves. Breaking ball thrown into the dirt. So the Rays with a major opportunity. And a good job by Nieves.
We've pointed him out a couple of times tonight and last night. Very active behind the plate.
Fastball all of a sudden 95, and it's 1-2.
Another one of those elevated heaters, and Desmond starts, realizes not going to be able to do much about it, and cannot hold up. Puts him in the hole here at 1-2.
He went around. After that fastball, the breaking ball gets him. 2 outs.
Now 2 nasty pitches back to back. You go with the high fastball, and then you bring out the breaking ball down and away. 2 very, very quality pitches there by Heath Bell, and now just 1 out away from getting out of this bases loaded jam. But got one of the Rays' big sluggers at the plate.
Evan Longoria, lifetime 0 for 2 against Bell. And the fastball is in for a strike. Bell coming in here in the bases loaded situation. 1-1. He has struck out Jennings. It's ball 2. More hard stuff, mid-90s high. That will even the count. Breaking pitch. Two and 2. Two walks, an error in between. The bases are loaded. 2 outs. And there's ball 3. Breaking ball missing. So the count is full. Walked his last time. 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. A 3-2 curveball. Longoria caught looking. Bell strikes out Jennings and Longoria, and the Rays leave the bases loaded. Rays still without a run. They trail 5-0. Fans for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. Fox Sports 1 coming August 17th. Jamie Wright still on the mound for the Rays to open the 8th inning. Rays leaving the bases loaded in the 7th. They've stranded 5 in the last 2 innings and 7 in the last 4.
That's so far the story of the game. Diamondbacks cashing in, Rays are not. Very simple.
A.J. Pollock takes a pitch inside, 1-0.
And that's something that the Rays have been. They've been good at that all season long. Runners in scoring position, able to come through clutch hits, especially at home. Through 7 tonight, not so much.
A 2-0 count. Hellickson gave up 4 runs in 4 1/3. Torres scoreless in an inning and 2/3. Farnsworth charged with the other run. McGee and Wright have followed. Wright came on, got a double play ball out of Frost in the top of the 7th. And it's now 2-1 to Pollock. Day off tomorrow, and the Rays pick up play Friday night with the San Francisco Giants in town. Two and 2 the count. Evans will be next, and then Pennington. Count full to Pollock.
A couple of those fastballs that Jamie Wright sinkers trying to get to the outside corner, not able to do it. So makes a nice adjustment. Decides, you know what, if I can't get it there with the regular fastball, go with the cutter. Let it cut its way out there.
3-2, and a tapper charged at short by Escobar, and he cannot unload the throw. So Pollock has an infield hit.
Now this ball hit right off the end of the bat, not hit hard. You see the chop action, takes all the oomph out of it, and Escobar right there just not able to get it and throw.
So an infield hit by Pollock. Nieves. Pitch to him is a strike on the outside part of the plate. Nieves had a base hit in the 4th inning. Goes a swing and a miss. Throw down is high and not in time. Pollock with his 7th steal in 10 attempts this year. And now the Diamondbacks have a man in scoring position with nobody out.
Now Pollock off and running on that delivery from Jamie Wright and Lobaton. Just a little bit of a glitch right here, getting rid of that baseball. A little bit high on the throw, and something that the Diamondbacks do not do very often or very successfully is run, but Pollock got one easy there.
Yeah, they have just 34 steals. They've been caught 26 times.
Yeah, they're a little bit over 50%.
Nieves called out on strikes on the curveball, and he didn't like the call. That's out number 1.
Now this is a curveball. It starts in off the plate. Nieves right there backs out of there. And it drops down, and Tom Hallion says that caught the inside corner. Maybe, maybe not.
Cliff Pennington, the shortstop. Starts him with a curveball, and that stays wide. Ball, no strikes. Runner goes to third. The throw down is not in time, and Pollock steals third base. So a steal of second and now third.
He got second so easily, feeling pretty froggy out there. And he's able to catch the Rays napping on that one. Ryan Roberts, you see him right there, off and running. Not a walking lead, and Roberts trying to get back to the bag to throw again. Not in a very good position to stop Pollock. Showing good speed and a couple of swipes.
Well, that does two things. The infield comes in now. Pitch foul the other way, out of play. And with one out, a steal of third.
Yep.
Sacrifice fly possibility now.
And the Diamondbacks, you know, who, like we said, they don't run successfully very often. But, you know, with a lead, they've got some margin for error. They're looking to add on. They understand that the Rays, you know, the offense can get hot at any time. So they're not going to take their foot off the pedal. Try to score another one.
Wide, 2-2. And a cut to miss. Pennington out on strikes, missed the cutter. 2 gone. Seattle and Boston. Seattle tied that game. Kyle Seager connecting off Junichi Tozawa. And that's a blast and a half over the bullpen by Seager. His 17th. Boston had taken a lead on a home run by Pedroia in the bottom of the 7th. But the home run by Seager in the 8th has tied that game at 4. Jamie Wright's first pitch to Parra. It's inside, 1-0. It's number 17. Kyle Seager. Pedroia's home run was his 8th of the year. Back into the screen. It's 1-1. The Rays have been out hit tonight 12-2, and they trailed 5-0. And a ground ball headed to short, backhanded by Escobar. Long throw will not be in time, and the run's going to score. That makes it a 6-0 ball game. Parra reaches on an infield hit and picks up the run batted in.
Yeah, how about that? 2 hits by the Diamondbacks this inning. None of them get out of the infield, and you have a run. 2 infield hits, 2 stolen bases. They add to the lead. Been one of those nights.
Martin Prado. Pitch is a strike. Prado has doubled and singled and scored twice. It's foul. Look out into the seats up the right side. Pollock has scored Parra is at first. Prado at the plate. A 2-strike count. There goes the runner. The pitch lifted into right. Myers coming in. He's got it to retire the side. Bottom of the 8th coming at 6-0 Arizona. It's getting late for the Rays. Coming in to hit in the bottom of the 8th inning. Down 6-0. Will Myers will lead off against Heath Bell. Myers, Zobrist, and Rodriguez due up. The ground ball headed to short. Pennington gloves it. Fires to first high. And the tag is the call by Phil Cuzzy at first base.
Yeah, and the only thing you wonder there is that obviously the throw is going to pull Goldschmidt off the bag. But did he get the tag to the chest before Myers' foot hit the bag? Because he jumped directly above the bag. This is going to be close. So he's got to jump up. The glove comes down. Yeah, it looked like it scraped him right before the left foot hit the bag. Yep. Good call.
Ben Zobrist, ground ball headed toward the middle, and that gets past the diving Hill and into center field. So Ben is 2 for 4. Let's check in with Todd Callis one more time.
Well, Dwayne, we'll look at the AT&T Twitter poll question again. It is of the 2 AL East rivals for the Rays, who improved themselves more at the trade deadline. Jake Peavy going to the Boston Red Sox, hashtag TV1. Bud Norris going to the Baltimore Orioles, hashtag TV2. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have the results in the Rays Live postgame show presented by Checkers. You guys will break down tonight's game, including an impressive start by the left-hander Wade Miley. Barry LeBrock will be working the clubhouse for interviews. Restis and I will host from out in the outfield. Guys, back to you.
All right. Joe Madden sending Kelly Johnson to the plate to pinch hit for Sean Rodriguez. Sean was 0 for 2 with a walk. So outside 2-0. Count. Scott on deck. Rays have had 3 scoring opportunities tonight. They left men at second and third in the 4th, left men at first and second in the 6th, and left the bases loaded in the 7th inning. 3-1. That will take the count full. Bell got out of the 7th inning when he inherited the bases loaded situation. Got a call there.
Yeah, he did. That ball looked like it had sailed up and away. Kelly Johnson thought the same thing, but you got to get right back into this bat mentally.
And Johnson out on strikes. The breaking ball, second time that he's gone breaking ball 3-2. He got Longoria with that pitch in the 7th, and Johnson here in the 8th.
Well, that's been, what has plagued the Rays tonight. He's not able to come up with the big hit. And that right there, I mean, there's a long way to go, but, Bell had fallen behind Kelly Johnson 3-0. You start to pop out some base runners, then you got a chance, but Bell able to come back and get him for the second out.
Luke Scott will hit for Roberts. And he pops it into shallow left center. Pennington out in a hurry. Over the shoulder catch. He goes to one knee to retire the Rays in the 8th. Fine play by the Arizona shortstop to get Luke Scott. We are through 8, 6-0 Arizona. Chris Archer has been red hot for the Rays, distinguished himself and actually moving himself into Rookie of the Year contention with that 6-3 record. He'll be on the mound for the Rays Friday night to open the series against the defending champion San Francisco Giants.
Those numbers have come such a long way. That pitcher right there, Chris Archer, has come such a long way. Really taken some big-time strides, and it's all because he continues to pound the strike zone with his overpowering arsenal. And he's been absolutely dominant for the Rays.
Cesar Ramos is pitcher number 6. on to face Paul Goldschmidt. Changes for the Rays. Luke Scott doing a little repair work on the mid at first. Kelly Johnson in at third base. Good cut and a foul ball by Goldschmidt. He's been on base 3 times, officially 1 for 2. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the first. He walked in the third and scored a run. Opened the 5th with a fly ball to right and then singled to right in the 7th. And a high fly ball back into center field. Jennings back, and that ball is gone. Home run, disappearing over the fence just to the right center side of center. Home run number 24. And that one, he hit that one as softly as a golf swing out of here.
Yeah, well, that's what makes him so dangerous. Power to all parts of the field, especially here in right center, out by that Rays tank. That is deep, but he just waits on this breaking ball and then clubs it. Able to recognize that pitch as it rolled in there and put a powerful swing on it.
Home run number 24.
That's not easy for a right-handed hitter to go out there.
Now this one back to Ramos, who deflects it and catches it for the out. So Chavez is the first out.
You've been listening to me all night. Got a mouthful of marbles since like the 3rd. Jeez.
Well, that ball right back at Ramos. You give up a home run and then that guy hits one right back to you.
And even though it broke his bat and it had nothing behind it, there's something about the ball off the bat. Usually those you squeeze the glove too early. You look all confused and ball's not quite there. Well, that's, you know what that is? That's the equivalent. You throw a good changeup to a hitter, he just hits you a changeup. All out in front.
When you see a line drive coming back at you, you better be out in front.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a couple times already. High pop foul. And Lobatone, a little basket catch.
Yeah, that's not going to make the Tom Amansky video. It's pretty. Don't ever do it again.
It's a 7-0 ball game as a result of the Goldschmidt home run. Cody Ross takes a strike. The Rays won last night 5-2, but Arizona piling up the runs and hits tonight. 7 runs, 14 hits. Now it's 1-2. Popped up, headed back this way and out of play. Schmidt's been on 4 times and has capped the evening with a home run. And a big cut and a miss. Lobatone with the flip down to first to Scott to put the final touches on the strikeout. It's 7-0 Diamondbacks. Be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Seven-0 ball game. We go to the bottom of the ninth. J.J. Putz follows Miley and Bell. Bell worked an inning in 2/3 in relief of Miley. The Rays will have Yunel Escobar to lead off. Pitch up and in a bit to Escobar. It's a final. The Astros have beaten the Orioles 11-0. Strike on the outside part of the plate. Boston batting in the bottom of the ninth, tied with the Mariners. That's a 4-4 ball game. 2-1 on Escobar. Popped down the right side, a foul ball. Goldschmidt after it, and it will not be playable. Two and two. The youngsters got a break on tickets tonight. 25,095 the attendance. 25095. Full count. Jose Lobatone on deck. And strike three call. Lobatone will be coming up now as Escobar is called out on strikes. Escobar waited a moment, then started to take off, and Hallion rings him up.
I'll tell you what, that fastball looked like it was going to run off the plate away, and just awfully close. Too close to take, really.
Jose Lobaton. One strike the count. He's 0 for 3. Reached on Prado's error in the 7th inning.
Has been a frustrating night for the Rays offense. They're used to going out and getting big hits, scoring runs by any means necessary, and have not been able to do that tonight. You got to tip your hat to the pitching of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Miley pitched a heck of a game. Did have 5 walks and a little over 6 innings, 6 in the 3rd, but made big pitches when he needed to. The bullpen, Heath Bell came in, did a nice job.
Upstairs, a ball, 2 strikes. This one chopped to the right side. Hill at second base throws out Lobaton. So Lobaton officially 0 for 4. Rays have just 3 hits tonight. Myers extended his hitting streak to 12 with a base hit in the 4th. And Vin Zobrist followed that with a double. Also had a single in the 8th. So Zobrist has had 2 of the 3 hits tonight. Myers the other one. And the Rays, despite that, because of 5 walks, did have some scoring opportunities. They've stranded 9 tonight. And here's Sam Fold against the right-hander. Ball 1. Mariners and the Red Sox moving into extra innings at Fenway, tied 4-4. Two and 0 the count to Fold. Now the pitch. 2-1. Well, the Rays came in 10-1 in interleague play against the National League. Ball pops it up, foul ball. Prado's after it near the stands, has a play, and this game is over. Fold fouls out to third, and the Rays are up and down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's a 7-0 final. So the Rays divide this 2-game set with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Martin Prado takes care of the pop foul off the bat of Jose Lobaton to end it. Wade Miley's going to pick up the win. That will even his record at 8-8. Just as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And the 26-year-old lefty, formerly drafted and unsigned by the Rays in 05, went to college and eventually signing with Arizona, comes up with the win tonight.
He made a lot of big pitches when he needed to, really limited these Rays hitters, kept them off balance. He worked quickly and used that very good slider to put a number of them away to go along with that fastball around there, a few good changeups, and got into the 7th inning with just the 2 hits, and that's what allowed him to be able to withstand the 5 walks.
We'll be back in just a moment. 7-0 Arizona over the Rays.